So it's the 1st of June and it's time for a new bullet journal. Finally! Everything that I was thinking about the last month is still in the air, so I chose a very in the air theme. A bubbly theme of bubbles. I have no idea where everything will turn out, how it will go, and maybe some of you don't, but in any case, bubbles are light, bubbles are very sparkly, happy, and they kind of spark joy to most people, I think. So if you like bubbles like me, if you like making bubbles outside with kids, if you like making bubbles for scientific experiments, or if you just like the colorful bubbles, come and join me and let's make a bubbly bullet journal for the month of June. For the cover of my monthly, I decided to paint a girl blowing bubbles. As per usual, I chose watercolors to do it, and although I'm not proficient in this and this paper is not watercolor friendly in terms of getting many layers on, you can still do a lot even with a thinner paper like this. At first, I decided to try to paint the bubbles using a lid, and I applied some paint in different colors to different parts of the lid and turned it upside down so it leaves a mark on the paper. Then I just blended everything with water. I used different lids and different round objects to do this, and it works, but the edges are a bit ragged. So later on I decided against this and used another technique that I liked better. For the lettering of the title, I sketched my letters first and then applied some paint on the edges so that different colors will bleed one into another. When I had the paint applied, I just used pure water to blend everything together and to get a nice, very pale coloring of the bubble. Whenever there was too much pigment or too much water, I just used a rag to pull it out. If you want, you could also add white highlights, but I didn't think that was necessary in my case. Now for my monthly planner, I decided to make clusters of 7 bubbles for each week. And of course there are 2 loose ones at the top for the 1st and 2nd of June. Here I wanted a bit clearer image because I wanted to have a very clear space between each day, so I used my circle ruler to draw them out. After everything was drawn in, I just added the dates and colored it. As you might have noticed, I added a lot of small bubbles all around, but I didn't color them so that it would be easier for me to see which bubbles actually represent the days. Now for the coloring, it's pretty much the same as I did on the previous page. I just apply some paint in different colors to the edges of each bubble or to each letter and blend them all with pure water. Now when you're painting bubbles, you can paint more than one at the same time, which saves you time, of course, but take care to choose 2 that are not touching each other. Otherwise, the colors would bleed and mix maybe where you don't want that. And here you can see everything up a bit closer so that you can see how I color my bubbles. I'm not a pro in coloring bubbles at all, but I think they look quite cute nevertheless. And I'm pretty happy with this page. Now for my trackers, I used bubbles again, of course, what else? And I used 1 circle for each day. That is for my main tracker, and for my little trackers on the other side, I used big circles that will hold the whole month. After I've written all the dates into my little trackers, I wanted to add the title in my bubbly letters that I found. But as you can see, I dropped my ink pad and made a mess at the bottom of the page. However, I'm showing you here how you can fix this. I painted a circle that will cover this, and then I just stamped the name of the month over. And now it actually looks cuter than it did before. So you see, whenever you make a mistake, you can always just cover it up. You can always paint something on a scrap piece of paper and glue it over the mistake. And nobody will ever know, especially if you make it like you wanted to do that. Besides, it's your bullet journal. It really doesn't matter. Now for my weeklies, I avoided all the painting because I was kind of in a rush. As you can see, I'm posting this today when June is already here. so I just drew the circles on using die cuts as my template. Die cuts are great because you can choose the size that you want, since you have several in the set that are just slightly different. And then to add small bubbles around, I used a circle template as again. Then I stamped the initials of the days, and that's it for this first weekly. For the second weekly, I decided on a vertical stream of bubbles in the middle of the journal and then add the days on each side of the page. Again, I used stamps for the initials, but this time I added the whole title with my fine liner. I just tried to mimic the same style of letters, and that was it. On the next page, I used stamps again, but this time I chose a normal horizontal layout. To keep with the bubble theme, I just added a bubble around every letter. I might color it later on, I don't know, I'll see. And then I also added some bubbles in the space that was left. The title in that big bubble says to do, because this will be my weekly to-do list. For my third weekly, I decided on a diagonal stream of bubbles, the one that you usually get when you're actually blowing bubbles into the wind or into the air. I like diagonals, I like circles, and I like bubbles, so this is great for me, and it was very enjoyable. Again, I added the same kind of letters with my same stamps and the same kind of lettering with the same fine liner. Technically, it's technical pen, but it does the same job. And now the final flip through of the whole month. I hope you enjoy it. It's nothing so special, but I kind of like this one. It's so bubbly and so fun, and it's not difficult to do at all. You could even stamp the girl at the bottom, or you could cut her out from some magazine, and all the rest is just drawing circles that you can use a template for. And even if you make a mistake, as you can see, you can cover it up and nobody will ever know. So don't worry, it's your bullet journal, it's your place to experiment, it's not a piece of art, it's made to be used. I really like using my bullet journal when it's all done. I found out I use it much better this way, so to each its own. I hope somebody else finds an inspiration here, and of course I hope to see you soon. And I hope that your dreams come true with this little bubbly spread. Bye bye!